Hi everyone, it's Sintang Mayumi. I'm back with another card using an apple image from this neat and tangled schoolhouse stamp set. This stamp set is so adorable. I love the images included on this stamp set. For today's video, I'm just going to use the apple image. I use my scraps of watercolor paper for stamping. When I cut my watercolor paper to A2 size panels, I get a lot of scraps, so I don't throw them away. Instead, I use them on small images like this. I stamp my apples with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and emboss them with clear embossing powder and heat set the powder until it's shiny. To color my apples, I use my Zig markers. I will color three different colors of apples: red, yellow, and green. I'm also using my empty Wink of Stella shimmer pen to blend the colors. And I have a small dish on the right, and that one has some of the iridescent shimmer ink from Hero Arts, and I'm going to use that to blend the colors and to add shimmer on the images. So these are my apples, colored and all shimmery. So you can see they are so shimmery. I really like that. I colored more than 3 apples off camera, and then I fussy cut them with my detailed scissor. And then I'm coloring the white edges of each apples so they look seamless. And I'm just using Memento black marker. I'm going to use Technique Tuesday Berry Basket dies to die cut my pattern paper, and I'm using one of the pattern paper from the 6x6 authentic paper pad. I'm going to use the basket pattern here, and I will secure the die on the paper with washi tape and then run it through my die cutting machine, and then I will adhere the pieces together using foam tape. I did die cut 2 of the basket because I'm making 2 cards today. And I'm just assembling the pieces together, and then we'll move on to the next step. For the background, I'm using Cartabella Autumn Leaves Stencil. My panel is Canson XL 140 pound watercolor paper. And I'm going to tape down my stencil on the sides with washi tape, and I also use washi tape on the back of the panel so it doesn't move when I do my ink blending. I use Distress Oxide inks, and I choose some fall colors from my ink collection and then randomly add the colors on the stencil. I'm also using my small makeup brush to add colors on the stencil to the paper and cleaning the brush in between changing colors of ink. I will splatter some of the inks that I use on the panel, and I add the ink on my acrylic black and add a tiny bit of water and flick the water or color on the paper with my paintbrush. I did die cut another frame and I will adhere that together so my frame is sturdy. Before we adhere the frame on our panel, I will ink the sides of the frame with vintage photo distress ink using my ink dauber. I already went ahead and add the foam tape on the back of the frame, and I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue because I'm reusing a foam tape from another project that I made that didn't work well. And then we can add this panel on my A2 size craft card base measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And now we can assemble our basket with apples. I arranged 6 apples on each of the baskets and I still have leftover of the ones I colored and fussy cut. I die cut a vellum using oval stitch die and I distress it with vintage photo distress ink with my finger dauber. I'm going to add that die cut on the back of the basket of apples. For the sentiment, I use So Thankful for You sentiment from Lonfon So Thankful stamp set. I will prep the paper with my anti-static powder tool and ink my sentiment with Hero Arts embossing ink, and emboss the sentiment with Wow Opaque Bright White embossing powder. And then heat set the powder until it's melted and shiny. And then I will cut the sentiment with my Fiskars trimmer. And now I'm adding tape on the stitch oval and that will go on the back of the basket of apples. And I'm adding more tape and then we'll peel the backing off or the release paper from the tape and then adhere that basket of apples on our panel or card. And we are also going to adhere the sentiment under the basket of apples. And I use foam tape on the sentiment to pop up a little bit. For the inside of the cards, I have leftover of these apples that I didn't use, so I'm just going to add them inside the cards and I'm using glossy accent to adhere them in the corner. And my cards are finished. You can see all the shimmer from the apples and I really like that. I hope you like today's cards and get inspired. As always, thank you so much for watching and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.